Cool the broth off and any fat will rise to the top, where you can scoop most of it away with a cup or a spoon. If you refrigerate the broth, the fat on top will get hard and is even easier to just scrape right off. Set a large strainer on top of another pot or bowl and line it with some cheesecloth or any thin material like a small thin towel. Then pour the cold broth through the material to strain it for the first time. After that, put the strainer on top of a pot to boil the broth in, and pour the broth through the material into the boiling pot for a second straining. Now, separate the yolk and white of 1 egg for each quart of broth that you are clarifying. Save the yolks for another dish, babka, pudding, or mousse for instance. Okay, beat the whites rapidly until foamy peaks form. By the way, it's easier when the eggs are cold. Then, pour the beaten egg whites into the cold soup and stir well, preferably with a whip, until most of the foam disappears into the broth. If you've never done this before, it's a little scary. You might think you've just ruined your broth with scrambled eggs. Put the pot of broth on a burner at the highest heat and bring it to a boil. As soon as it starts to boil, turn the heat down to just a low boil and let it boil for another 10 minutes maximum. You'll notice that the egg foam has come back to the top and it's now cooked. Remove the pot from the heat and use a cup to remove as much of the cooked foam as possible. All the cloudiness in the broth will have been absorbed by the egg white. Pour the broth back through the cloth and strainer one more time to remove any small bits of egg white, and you'll be left with a clear consommé.